Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we are doing 1987's The Running Man. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I love them. And
they're entertaining.
Extremely entertaining. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is the running man in this movie. He plays a character named Ben Richards. Could you have picked a more milquetoast name for a foreign actor with an accent?
I'm just going to roll the dice and say that you should pick a character name that will actually fit the words coming out of that guy's mouth, whoever's playing said character, because he can't pronounce Ben Richards. My name's Ben Richards. It's so ridiculous. And half the people in the movie, they don't know how to pronounce his name either. Maria Conchita Alonso goes,
Richard! There's another thing about the names in this movie, because Maria Conchita Alonso plays Amber Menendez.
Menendez.
Sorry, I was thinking of murderers.
She's the forgotten sister.
But Mendez, fine. Amber, though? No? Okay, cool.
Dude, Damon Killian has the most ethnic name in the movie.
He has the best name in the movie.
And he is far and away the most American person in this movie. Damon Killian.
The movie is, and according to IMDb, is a wrongly convicted man must try to survive a public execution gauntlet staged as a game show. It's not staged as a game show. It's a fucking game show.
It's a game show, yeah.
And I do like this part about it, because they have obviously the exposition, and we talked about exposition, like the title card exposition in Red Dawn, and how well they used that.
Yep.
This was quite the opposite.
Yes.
Because it's 2017, which was 3 years ago, and the world economy has collapsed, and it's all in that, like, I don't know, the dot matrix computer kind of font.
Yes. Every time civilization collapses, MS-DOS is the only thing that works.
And you can only read it on a monochrome screen.
It's so... The computer technical jargon in this movie is such bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's astounding. They do a thing, and I'm jumping ahead, where Weiss is trying to break into the satellite uplink. And he says they have a
hexagonal decode system. Not impossible. It's just going to take a little time.
That's not a thing. And it's literally like a computer animation in DOS of a fucking atom. You have the nucleus, and you have electrons and protons flying all over. It is so stupid.
That part is absolutely ridiculous. But it sets the beginning of this movie sets it up. Resources are low. Everything is controlled by the state, including the TV and music and everything. The Running Man is the most popular show ever in the history of the world.
Yes.
There's a small resistance that's managed to survive underground. My first question was, is Dennis Leary running the resistance that's underground?
Yeah, it's Edgar Friendly. Well, he's in L.A. They're in a different part. This is so... The B plot of this movie, being the revolution, Viva la Revolution, is so fucking stupid.
Well,
it comes out of nowhere. The leader is Mick Fleetwood and fucking 13-year-old DeWeasel Zappa.
If the revolution begins now, the first thing I'm doing is buying a fucking beret.
Hey, you're putting a target on your back, DeWeasel. That's all I'm all I'm saying, bro.
I'm leading the revolution with me and my beret, okay?
Your bright red beret By the way, when you're going into a firefight, having identifying things on your head is not awesome.
No,
you don't want to stick out.
So
these are tips and tricks.
So we'll get into the beginning of this movie. Arnold is framed and put into prison. He's flying the helicopter over some civilian riot. They're trying to get food, whatever. Arnold on his, futuristic computer on his helicopter sees that none of them are armed and refuses to shoot, but the order is to kill everybody.
I said the crowd is unarmed. There are lots of women and children down there. All they want is food, for God's sake.
Fighting ensues on the helicopter. Cue Arnold's grimacing voice. He gets thrown into this prison camp. And they flash forward. It's 18 months later. He's in this prison camp. He's got this great fake beard on. And he's carrying steel beams, because he's Arnold. And
which he later just tosses. Just like he shot a fucking basketball. Like, oh, fuck. I gotta go hit on that chick.
Dude, that thing was like 900 pounds. Like, I get it. It was styrofoam, but it's like a 900-pound support beam. And he tossed it like it was an insect.
This is where the word acting comes into play. That's like one of the first things they teach you, like in an improv class, like basic bitch improv class, is know what you're doing in the scene. Exactly. If you're carrying a beam, just suddenly drop the fucking beam because something else happened.
So they have acting. Thank you.
Actors!
They have this plan to escape, or they steal the codes.
I have to stop you. Can we talk about Weiss, who is supposed to be the tech guy, the computer guy? In order to break out of the prison, he literally just looks over a dude's shoulder and remembers what the code was. And outside of punching in that code and hitting enter, he cannot get out of a fucking wet paper bag. Like, he knows nothing other than that code, enter. He hacks.
He's
nothing.
He's terrible at everything. He's terrible at life in this movie.
He's like, oh, they're blocking me.
The Lincoln computer's denying the code. Must be the walls in here blocking the signal. It's not happening.
What do I have you for? The point of view is to block them from blocking us so we can get the fuck out of here. Not for you to be like, oh, data entry job, minimum wage.
One guy actually starts running before the force field or whatever is dropped, and his head just explodes, which was awesome. That scene was great.
Was this the start of that whole heads exploding thing? Because then, everybody started to develop, Wild Wild West with Will Smith had an exploding collar. This started the exploding collar fad.
Yes.
That dominated a lot of our tense situations in movies.
The exploding collar genre of film. But they escape from the camp, and he goes to his brother's apartment. Like, they get the little collars taken off, but he goes to his brother's apartment. This is where the hilarity ensues, because it's his brother's apartment, who I guess got taken away for re-education camp. The best part about it is when he gets to his brother's apartment, he enters the code 445566 into the little keypad for the door, and it lets him in. So what you're telling me is, when his brother got taken away and they sold this apartment to a new person, they didn't change the security code? That's trash security right there. So he gets in.
That's as bad as Kanye having his iPhone password be 0000.
Exactly. He gets in. He goes and takes a shower. He comes out. Yeah, as you do. He comes out. He finds there's a woman there working out, and quickly takes her hostage. She realizes that he's the butcher of Bakersfield. Immediately starts screaming that,
"Are you the man? Assassin is in my house, and butcher of Bakersfield in my mouth!"
takes her money, her travel pass, and books a flight to Hawaii so he could just get out of town. They get to the airport. I don't know why she goes along with him the whole way. Because at the airport, she very easily just punches him in the dick and is like, hey, the butcher of Bakersfield is here and he has me captive.
Let's just talk about the hole in the fucking plot where you're a monster of a human being.
Yes.
You are Frankenstein's monster.
Yes.
This would be like Shaq going on Undercover Boss. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that was you, Gary. You're in a Hawaiian shirt and a hat.
Exactly.
That's it.
But
that's it. And everybody's just supposed to, oh, there's a lot of big son of bitches around here that look exactly like that escaped convict Ben Richards. But he wouldn't have the gall to walk through an airport.
Yeah, but right before that, there's a scene. It's Richard Dawson as Damon Killian.
My favorite part of this entire movie.
Dude, Richard Dawson is fantastic in this movie. Plays the asshole game show host, whatever. But him and his team are trying to find somebody for the next Running Man show. And he's like, I don't like that guy. This guy, look at him. He's 130 pounds. He'll die within the first 30 seconds. And then he sees the news clip of Arnold's prison break. And he was like, I want that guy. But apparently they have a government contract where they can't have military prisoners on the show.
Yes.
And he's made aware of that.
I want him.
Can't have him.
Why not?
Damon, you know our contract. We never get military prisoners.
And Richard Dawson basically says,
yeah, well, they'll get him for me.
This is what drives me crazy. Killian's whole motivation here is ratings have grown stagnant. They were the same last week as they are this week, as they were last month and the last month after that. What do you expect when you have state-run television? Here's an idea. See all those people gathered in like the betting shantytown area?
Yep.
If each one of them had a place that they could afford to live in and afford to buy a television, your ratings would go up. You don't have to fucking put in this magical thing where Ben Richards is caught and he's the guy that's going to save everything. How about just pass out some... It's state ran. You're making up this shit as you go along anyway. You just print more money.
There's the Political Science Minute with Corey Idle. But when Arnold gets chased down at the airport, right? This is after Amber's dick punch. And they chase him down on like the tarmac. And they catch him with this like Scooby-Doo net. like I expected them to like take his head off and like, I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
All I could think of was Charlton Heston in Planet of the Apes.
But, oh my God, this is so great.
That's so ridiculous.
He gets taken to the TV studio where he meets Richard Dawson and Damon Killian. And he says, you have to volunteer to be the next Running Man. And he'd take, it's 2017, but they still have the tube TV and the gigantic remote. And he turns the TV on and says,
so if you don't do the Running Man tomorrow, Weiss and Rothman are going to go on.
And, Arnold says, fuck you, whatever he says. And decides, okay, I'm going to do it. I'll go on the Running Man. And my two buddies are saved. The scene after this is Amber back at her apartment. And she has the news on. And they're running the report about how Ben Richards was caught at the airport. He shot at people. And she's like, well, that's not right. That's totally wrong. Now I'm starting to believe Arnold Schwarzenegger. Message. But cut to the Running Man show. It's showtime! Richard Dawson is so good on camera.
He's fantastic. The solid gold dancers were fantastic. the whole thing, the whole setup of the game show, criminals are basically going to be executed on live TV under the guise of a game show where you're going to win. You're actively participating. Matter of fact, you actually choose who's going to murder this person.
Yes.
As a person in the studio.
Yep.
It is phenomenal. Richard Dawson does such a great job through his monologues and through the way he interacts with the people on the game show.
Yep. We get to showtime. It's Running Man time. Damon double crosses Ben Richards.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
His two buddies, Arnold's two buddies, are there. They send all three of them into the Running Man, and let the games begin.
Without further ado, it's time to start running!
Which is my favorite line.
It's great.
It's so awesome. And this is when, one of many Arnold one-liners is when he tells Killian,
I'll be back.
For all the times Arnold has said, I'll be back,
yep.
Richard Dawson has by far the best comeback of any of his other opponents.
Only in a rerun. Go!
It's fantastic.
But then, they all get into the Running Man game. The games begin, cameras are rolling. Enter the stalkers.
Sumo wrestler on ice.
Okay, so can we break down the stalkers? Because listen, we all know what happens in this movie. Arnie gets away. So let's break down. I know.
Oh my God! Spoiler alert!
Spoiler. I should put spoiler alert at the beginning of the show.
This movie's only 47 years old.
So I got a couple of issues with Sub-Zero. We'll start with him, and we'll go in order of how they're introduced. Sub-Zero.
Professor Sub-Zero.
Yes. Pardon. Professor Sub-Zero. He is an Asian sumo wrestler, but is a hockey player.
Sure, he's the guy from the James Bond movie that throws his hat and it chops motherfuckers' heads off. I'm pretty sure it was that dude on roller skates or on ice skates.
That was the first problem. It just everybody has their their own like image and whatever. His was just confusing. Second, he comes out and holds the hockey stick up, and he's got the most gigantic codpiece on that protrudes 4 feet off of his body.
Well, because he's the most gigantic man that's ever put on ice skates. What the fuck are you doing on ice skates, bro?
And then they get into the little hockey arena, and he has pucks that explode on second impact. So, issue with that. This is when Arnold's one-liners all come in. Because after he kills every stalker, he's got a one-liner with
the puns, and I'm drowning in puns.
With Sub-Zero, it's
here is Sub-Zero. Now, Plane Zero.
Then enter after he kills him with some random. Breaks off a piece of the fence with the thing and chokes him and cuts his throat. He dies. They've never seen any stalker die, although before the show started, they're like, here are the 3 winners from last season.
Right.
Well, if they won, I didn't know that you could get away without killing one of the stalkers.
They just played it like you do Call of Duty. They just hid in a corner.
They gloss over that. But
sat there the whole time.
They enter
Just sit over?
Enter Buzzsaw and Dynamo, which is basically Guy Fieri with a chainsaw and Light Bright Pavarotti. Dude.
Dynamo belonged in The Last Dragon. Because he is the most ridiculous fucking bad guy I have ever seen. He comes out, they introduce Buzzsaw, and he's like, "Roar!" And like he looks like a fucking psycho Buff Bagwell from the WWE. And it's just like, okay, I get it. Super muscle guy, Guy Fieri hair, chainsaw. Yeah. I get what he's about. Dynamo comes out and launches into like this fucking Figaro opera. And while he's singing, he's electrocuting the applause sign. So people are like, oh my God, it's a magic show too. And he, Dynamo loses his round. He didn't die, so maybe this lends credence. Maybe those three guys that have won just all faced Dynamo and were able to run away. Because he tries driving his own car up a steep pile of fucking
trash,
rubble. Yeah. And then it flips over. And he keeps calling for the cameras to cut.
Cut! Go to commercial! Jesus Christ! I have no power! Cut! Go to commercial!
His entire character, even at the end when he fucking bites it, which we'll get into later,
yeah,
he's just walking around with his light bright vest and tighty-whitey underwear.
He gets a little
What is happening?
He gets a little rapey at the end.
He gets all the way rapey. Thank God he is so fat and could not find his dick. Because that was insane.
After that scene, Amber gets caught. Well, she gets caught earlier trying to steal the tapes or the whatever, the files on the Butcher of Bakersfield.
As you know, when you commit a crime, you keep evidence clearly labeled in a filing cabinet that basically says evidence.
That was literally the note I wrote was, because the original video would be kept at the TV studio with the edited version, like right in the same.
Oh yeah, exactly. Fucking Richard Nixon is heading up this crazy shit.
So she enters the Running Man because she gets caught trying to pull the footage. Arnold's two buddies die. One gets electrocuted. Weiss gets electrocuted by Dynamo because he's terrible at life. And then the other dude gets cut by the chainsaw, saving Arnold. Damon offers Arnold a deal to actually become a stalker. And we'll get you a beachside condo and all this stuff.
How would you like a 3-year contract, guaranteed? A cadre credit line and a beachfront condo.
And then Arnold grabs the camera, and it's the first time. This is actually one of the best acted scenes I've seen Arnold do ever, because he loses his shit.
I'll tell you what I think of it. I live to see you eat that contract. But I hope you leave enough room for my fist, because I'm going to ram it into your stomach and break your goddamn spine!
I'm gonna take this camera and I'm gonna shove it up your ass until I can see your colon and shit. And like, wait, what?
He sounds like a 5-year-old just throwing like a temper tantrum. And then I want you to die. And then when you die, I want you to be alive again. And then I want you to die. It's so like, ugh.
After
dude,
that,
watching him. This is what's sad, okay, is somebody wrote those lines for Arnold.
Yes.
And he's still, it looks, and maybe he's acting, I don't think so, but it looks like he's like really trying to come up with this shit on the fly.
Yes.
Like he had no idea what was being said.
Yeah.
Even in the Buzzsaw one, when like Buzzsaw says something to him like, this chainsaw's a part of me and now it's going to be a part of you. And then he turns it around, Arnold does, and he's about to jam it up Buzzsaw's culo, and he goes,
That's all right. Keep it tight.
And then fucking jams it. It's like, what took you so long to come up with that?
Well, he's coming there like Arnold. We're not going to write the one-liners. You just come up with those on your own. You're good to go. You're good to go. We trust you.
It's so
that
it's
was
so
that
bad.
was that was his 17th take of saying something different. He just ran out of shit to say.
Oh, you keep it. I got the coupon for this one.
I found this on Groupon. So
Houston, we have a problem.
the next scene is enter Fireball. Fireball is basically if Don King and Grace Jones had a baby and gave it a blowtorch and a jetpack. He comes in, the crowd starts to change, people start betting on Ben Richards he brings the one old lady up.
He's one bad motherfucker.
Dude, that's the best scene. He brings the old lady up and she's like, well, I want to bet on Ben Richardson will have the next kill. And he's like, well, you can't do that. You have to bet on a stalker. She's like, I can do whatever I want.
I can pick anyone I choose. That boy's one mean motherfucker.
That's the best. That's the best scene. But this was the funniest part to me. In the amount of time that they have this uplink availability, like to start streaming their live feed.
Yeah.
And uploading this video that they have very carefully edited to, like, it's an awesome video.
Yeah.
It took them 4 seconds, total real time, to edit this whole video, cut it together with the Butcher of Bakersfield original video to show everybody that Killian's lying to you. And they edit this.
It looked like a Super Bowl ad, bro.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Those guys should get a job in professional sports because
that was crazy.
They edited that with a quickness, and it was fantastic. Like there was no mistakes in editing at all. I take a week to edit these shows typically, and there's at least 5 mistakes when I do it. But they hack the satellite. They get all that stuff up there. Arnold joins / leads the resistance. They chase all hell breaks loose at the studio. People are running and screaming out there. There's a gunfight. But the cameras are still rolling. None of the cameramen in the studio get shot, apparently. They're either in a protective bubble or they avoid all the bullets because the Matrix. So Arnold and his crew are in the studio. They're going through this gunfight. And Arnold puts Killian into the cage. Like they have this little standoff. And he drops him into the Running Man. But when they get dropped into the Running Man, there's this net that catches them. And somehow when Arnold does it, I don't know, maybe he hits the button with so much force that it propels Killian off a ramp and through one of his own billboards, which then explodes, catches fire, and then I guess we're to assume Killian's dead. Everyone celebrates. Arnold and Amber kiss. End scene, end movie. I want my money back.
How does killing Killian, change anything?
It doesn't.
It changes nothing. And the crowd cheering, all that symbolizes is they just like watching motherfuckers die. They don't care who it is.
Yes.
This changes nothing.
No.
For anything. It just means the Running Man's off the air. They'll come up with the fucking something else tomorrow.
No, now they'll have climbing for dollars. Which was the best. Like, if they had climbing for dollars on TV today, I would DVR it. Absolutely.
Oh, that's 100% what they're trying to tell us in this movie.
It was when they showed the commercial for that, I immediately started laughing. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I would watch that. Like people getting chased by German shepherds up a rope trying to get cash.
Yes, The commercials in this were as good as the commercials in the original RoboCop.
Yes, absolutely. I'll buy that
Just
for $1.
Off the wall crazy shit. Dude, here's my problem. They come so close to making it a good movie. But instead, they made it into an Arnie action movie. And very rarely are those good movies. Yes. They may be entertaining movies, but they're not good.
Yeah. I'll half agree with you, because this isn't, when we do our, does this stand the test of time? I'm going to say no, it does not stand the test of time, based on some rules that I put up, in earlier shows.
Really painted yourself into a corner there.
Yeah, but at the same time, it cannot stand the test of time, but I could still love this movie. And
100%.
As awful as this movie is, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I would consider this a guilty pleasure movie.
Absolutely.
Like, you should be a tiny bit embarrassed that you enjoy watching this movie.
And I am.
It's totally understandable that you do enjoy watching this movie. You can see why it's there.
Yeah.
You just have to be in that kind of mode or that mood.
This is one of those movies that I would, because I hate when they reboot movies and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Done the right way, this is a movie that I wouldn't mind getting rebooted.
No.
So
no, not at all. I think
because the premise is great. Everything about this movie is great. It's just some of the character choices, some of the, like, if you rebooted it, Pavarotti Lightbright, he's out of the script. Like, we wrote him out. Yeah. We're putting somebody else in that role.
If you were to rewrite this movie today, it would look more like an MMA kind of gauntlet situation.
Yes.
Like professional wrestlers, boxers, judo, and you just have to go through the theatrical bullshit that is involved in this.
Yes.
Takes so much out. Like Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Dude, just make it a fucking dude out there fucking people. Like, it didn't have to be this, like, I'm on ice skates and in hockey pads and a conch belt and my fucking I'm pushing people into hockey nets, and you're taking it too far. It's supposed to be a metaphor, and you're starting to put it into like a literal sense, and it drives me fucking crazy.
So
stop doing that.
I'll assume
my name's Buzzsaw. Because I got chainsaws. Was the fucking name Chainsaw taken?
I didn't mind that. That was just something.
That's what just kind of like, I'm Fireball. I fly around on a jetpack and shoot fire. We fucking get it at that point. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Like, I get it. You're gonna hit the nail directly on the head.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Like that.
But it makes Tim Burton Batman instead of Batman Begins. And this movie could have been Batman Begins, and they settled for Tim Burton. And here I'm going to throw pop culture right in your face with Dweezil Zappa, fucking Mick Fleetwood, Jim Brown, Jesse Ventura, Richard Dawson. And they did that because they knew they had a dog shit script.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
They probably thought they had a great script, truth be told.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
But other than that, like I said, I don't think it stands the test of time, but I still love the damn movie. Your thoughts?
I found it entertaining. I will say that after all that bullshit.
That's fair.
I found it entertaining. The fight scenes were so underwhelming. They were so cartoonish.
Yeah.
When they first shoot out, this is how when they first shoot out and start the Running Man, there's all those guys and the village people are like pulling them out of the little car that they flew in. If it would have stayed gritty like that, almost like a Road Warrior kind of, I would have found it a little more intense in those fight scenes. But when it became kind of Tim Burton Batman-y, it was just like, all right, I get it.
No, I gotcha.
He's gonna win. It's gonna be underwhelming how he wins, and That's it.
And cocaine.
Yeah.
All right.
And cocaine. By the way, he also goes completely against his character because he has the chance to kill Dynamo, and he says, "I don't kill, unarmed people," or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he puts Richard Dawson in The Running Man and kills him. So,
well, there
nice job.
All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, I certainly don't. I think we hit all the talking points.
And then some. We made this movie reviewable.
Yes, exactly.
It should not.
But for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1987's The Running Man.